Way down in Georgia, there lives a strange collection of people. But the tie that binds them is Wrassle match. And they love to sit around and talk about it. And that's what they fixing to do. Georgia Wrestling History proudly presents the Wrassle Men, a Whoopcast. We got Shane, Brian, Bill, and two Mats. We got a grandpa too, and old Foot and Shard. Yes, you know they finna get right. Here's the Wrassle Men. They talk about the wrestling.
Okay, this is a wrestling podcast. There's a giant elephant in the room. We're going to ignore it because we are not equipped to talk about it. I can tell you right now, we ain't on the list. Welcome to the Wrassle Men, a Whoopcast, where we're taking a scroll down memory lane. I said a word I shouldn't say. Memory lane. We're strolling down memory lane tonight. We talked about Bill the Butcher's early goings last year, and as you can see tonight, we're going to talk about the very early stages of the careers of one Brian Blaze and one Jeter. Jeter may or may not be here with us. He's got some life happenings going on right now. They are not negative. I'm not going to put his business out there, but he is having some family stuff he's dealing with, which is good. It's good family stuff. So we wish our big buddy the absolute best. And if he pops in later, I'm sure he's going to say, yeah, you know, and stuff. So here we go. Wrassle Man roll call. Shane Marks, where are you at?
I'm home.
All right, there you are. Myers?
I'm at Rancho del Bumpus, my compound.
The very serious fonted Bill the Butcher?
I guess I'm in the Bowery.
There you go, sure. Mm-hmm. And the resident power couple, Brian Blaze and Nina Monet. Brian is a proud boy. So that's great.
And we have Daryl Hall. We have referee Daryl Hall.
I keep forgetting. I forget he's on roast duty.
He's on mute.
He's on mute. Of course he's on mute. He just likes to know what we're doing. If we have an official ruling we need, he pops in, he tells us, and then he gets back to putting bouillon cubes in a very old crock pot. A very old whatever the clawfoot tub version of a crock pot is, that's what he's using. It's probably more of a cauldron, if I had to guess.
I feel like it's a Dutch oven.
You know, he's almost got his Juneteenth stew ready to go.
Damn it.
So before we get into the matches, we're all seeing this screenshot here. So I guess the thing I want to talk about first is I never even thought about this when I was just a wrestling fan. It was something that never crossed my mind. But once you get into the business and you start hanging around wrestlers, you find out one thing is more important than anything else. More important than the moves, more important than the stories, the selling, the crowds, more important than any of that. The thing wrestlers actually give the most shit about is gear. Gear is number one on the list. So in your early goings, boys, Brian and Jeter, we see yours right here. Who's got the worst gear story?
Oh, more important than anything is gear?
Yeah.
Absolutely. More important than anything. All right, Nina, you spoke up. And as a woman's, when did you start wearing mesh?
Oh, the first year. Actually, the funny thing was, I actually had gear. As a manager, I had good gear. I had corsets. I had leggings. I had stuff
I can vouch for that. You absolutely did.
Yes.
But the mesh, why is it always the mesh?
And then apparently, as a writer, huh?
You're fading out on me, Foot. I need you coming through. I need you coming through with power. Speak with this Juneteenth, honey. Get in there. Dig deep. I want you to channel Maya Angelou. Really speak through with some clarity. I want you to effervesce the scent of woman in full bloom.
That's empowering.
Internet is being an ass, right?
Okay. All right. Shane Marks, I'm going to go to you.
Powers in the
I
side.
know, Shane Marks, I know you to have a story about the time your bag got stole. What did you have to wrestle in that night?
I bought a singlet. I had just bought a singlet, so I haven't used that yet. So after it got stolen, I started wearing a singlet, and Steve said, "Look good, so wear it from now on." And that's how that started.
What were you wearing previously that got taken away that is currently being worn somewhere in Avondale Estates as pajamas, I would assume?
I would probably think so. No, I had these blue pleather shorts that I got made from Easy Money. The first pair of gear I ever bought. And then from the same person.
Is great.
It really, everything
Yes, it
about
is.
this sentence really is great.
And I got that because Hayden and I started tagging up, so we wanted like matching colors and matching color gear, and I wasn't ready for tights yet, so I was going to wear these baggy shorts. Then it moved on to the same material, just different color, just pants this time, same person. And after that, I was like, I'm not going to wear this shit anymore.
Myers, you came from a you had wardrobe in your history. What did you start out in?
I think the first thing I wrestled in, I found some tights on like a Mexican wrestling website, and they were baggy, like, because I was like in my head, and not that I've ever felt like I was a big person, but I was like, okay, I was like, if I get them kind of small, they'll look good, and they didn't. They were still kind of baggy, so it looks like I used to be a guy who was bigger and got sick. And,
That's my cancer outfit.
yeah, exactly. Like, oh, look at him, he's so brave.
Look how excited Brian is.
So brave to come back and wrestling again after this. So I had those, and at one point I remember I called out Bill's favorite move, the slingshot, and Timmy McClendon did it, and my pants were like started coming down because they were just so loose. And I tried to get my ex-wife
fucking guy.
Yeah, so I had those, and I wasn't confident enough to like go shirtless, so I had like a wife beater on. It was bad. I don't know.
Real Florida. You were coming in real Florida.
I was really Florida-ing it up.
Bill, you've had several iterations. What did you come in with?
Initially, it was like black shorts and some wrist tape.
Fucking shoot! I can't imagine it. I
Like,
can't imagine Shooter Bill.
Were they booty shorts?
You know they were.
No,
You know how thick in the thighs he is, Foot.
I mean, were they like short shorts, or I mean, were they like wrestling trunks, or were they like soccer shorts or something?
They were like right above the knee.
Okay. So,
Okay.
like 5.
International cut.
Yes, there.
Were you were wearing boots?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't even picture it in my head. I cannot see it. And if I did see it, I think I might explode into particles. I just wouldn't be able to fashion it. And I guess, did you do that up until Mike Knox stole everything from you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, I mean, basically, if you look at Mike Knox, that's what I wore. Like verbatim's the wrong word, but you get it.
Yes.
Yeah, legitimately, it's the exact same thing.
And even to this day, some of us still get criticized for not wearing boots, or wearing kick pads and not doing enough kicks. In general, Brian, is it a conversation that somebody has with you that, like, okay, you've trained long enough, you've done this long enough? Like, how did you get from this stunning outfit that we're looking at right now to your actual gear?
What I'm wearing now, partially Rick Michaels. Like, I remember starting off, it wasn't really too much of a conversation of what to wear or how we wear it. Just like find your identity and wear it.
And I mean, your identity here was and one mixtape player.
You said that like there's something wrong with that. That's a good gimmick.
I saw Brian Blaze.
If we could go back right now, that would be my gimmick.
Skip to my Lou Blaze.
Boy.
His finisher was whatever they called on NBA Street when you got to do like the 4-point shot. That was his big finisher.
Don't start talking about streets. I would turn this off and start playing streets right now.
If I could, I would. If I could, I would, Brian Blaze. I'm not gonna lie to you. Shane, was it something for you that you're just like, I got to get out of whatever the thing, the very first thing you're wearing of? You're like, I just got to get out of this and I got to get into gear because you know that's what you're supposed to do.
It's almost like graduating.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're moving on to the next thing, Just at this point, it's like the same with Brian. It's like finding your identity, like finding what works for you. And it was like, I was in my mind that I wanted to wear like long tights first, but like let me go here first, and I'll eventually get to it. And eventually, it's like, all right, I think I'm ready to start wearing this or do something different, give a different presentation altogether.
So Myers, you had to go from, you were Oscar worthy for a long time. How did you put those outfits together?
That was really hard because like I did like a lot of managers do, where you go and you get like Goodwill suits and you like try to like dress them up as much as you can to make them look like something. And so trying to figure out what Oscar Worthy's wrestling gear would look like, I didn't have the money to do it. Because I was like, oh, I bet you he would have like really good gear. And I was like, I don't have the money to do that. So, I mean, just being honest, I think that's probably like what a lot of guys.
That's what everybody, right? I mean, because look, for those of you who have never had to buy gear, they ain't giving the shit away for sure. And it's one of those things where if you're doing this to any kind of, if you are doing this well enough to where you're going around, not only do you need to look good, but you also want to look good. Like
Right.
It is a desire we all have to, because that's part of the show. That's part of the presentation. A very famous wrestler once said, I don't want people to think they can go get what I'm wearing from a store. That's part of it. And the people that make it well, it's a job that they have and they live by, and so they charge commensurate with making a living. So no, it is tough to do. And so you do have to, you have a thing in mind, and then you kind of have to piecemeal it together sometimes. There's all of us have been in the thing, we're like, all right, this check, I'm going to get these X, and then the next thing I'm going to get this. And when them taxes roll in here, it's time to get a motherfucking robe. I mean, shit, it happens. I've got a closet full of piecemeal tracksuits right now, just because I'm like, hey, this one's on sale this week. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm waiting on a Kappa order to show up that I am very excited about.
I will say this. I do think that guys, they're gear guys. And so there's you're looking good, Shane. I'm going to go and say it. that gears are all about what gear you're wearing. Body guys are all like, nah, man, you got to have that good body. Gimmick guys are like, well, no, you got to be working that gimmick. Promo guys are like, nah, it's all about the promo. It's like everybody has their thing that they kind of choose to like focus on. But then I think presentation becomes a big part of it, is where you're like, you have to figure out what of those things is the most important to you and what can you afford.
And once you find the thing you can afford, just buy them in all the colors. Just buy them in all the colors, and you'll at least have that. You'll be consistent. Your presentation will be consistent, and you'll be ready for whatever thing you're in. I don't know the amount of times Shane and Brian and I will message each other and say, hey, what are we wearing this week? Like, it happens every show. And we always have a different answer. Like, man, what we did last time? And then you get there and some asshole's got the same thing you got, so you got to change. And there's a whole thing. You get there and Tommy Daniels is wearing the same jacket you are. You know what? We're just going to roll this tonight. We just got to do it tonight because I brought one jacket. I'm sorry. It's who knows what the weather's going to be. Bill, your thing comes about, and not only do you have to do with gear, you know, you have to have your shorts. But when did the painting start, and how did it sort of evolve over time?
The painting started, I'm going to say probably 2010, maybe 2011. I used to just do it for big shows. Like, just, you know, we had a War Games match. So I was like, all right, well, I'm crazy, so let me look a little crazier. And then at some point it just kind of started being a thing where, you know, otherwise I'm just a dude in shorts.
Just Mike Knox. Was it something that you knew how to do? Like, is that something that, because you've got other interests in your life. Is that something that you had a skill at, or did you have to pick it all up? Because some of your shit got pretty elaborate.
I just kind of fucked around and did it. A lot of times I just take it off movies and stuff.
What's the worst place you had to put your paint on? Because I know if you ever had to go in that bathroom and it didn't be Atlanta, I hope you wore shoes for that.
Honestly, I got pretty used to just doing it wherever.
Yeah.
Most of the time you can find me outside, just,
like
throwing black paint on.
The time that I figured out that at some point, at some level, wrestling equaled us all out was walking into an elementary school bathroom and seeing Gold Dust applying his paint in the elementary school bathroom sink. And I'm like, you know what? Some bitch gets you. Like, no matter what you've achieved, no matter what you do, at some point, you're always just a dude in a sink somewhere putting on your own makeup. There's nobody around to do this for you at any level. I would imagine that was the same thing he went through, because you don't let other people do it. Nina, your thing is the same way now. Your stuff has really evolved, and you've got a lot of accoutrement. How did you get to that place?
By not drawing jizz marks on my face. You know what?
That's a cheap shot.
That was
I offered you time at the beginning of this to say all the jizz stuff you wanted to. You declined to say jizz stuff.
No, it honestly, it came from
Yes. This is jizz.
It came from wanting to paint my face, but to make it mean something, to look at things that dealt with my gimmick, and to honestly accentuate my face, but also draw meaningful markings. Also, I'm a nerd, so
that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, there it is.
So some of those markings came from Korra, the Last Airbender. Just that third eye. I think that was one of my favorites. It looked stupid, but it was one of my favorites. I first did it at Dragon Con, but just the lightning bending. It wasn't even lightning bending.
Combustion.
It was combustion, and
Fucking dorks.
that was pretty fun. And I think every woman who came through. Is it the Wi-Fi?
Y'all just drifted out on me. You said every woman that came through PCW.
At some point did a face paint gimmick.
I think you're right.
And it reminds just reminds me of it's just that preparation before getting in a match, that listening to music or that push-ups or ironing your shirt with a cardboard box. It's just putting on that.
You ain't shit, Nina Monet. So it's part of it becomes part of the process at some point, and at some point it does stop being about the presentation, and it becomes a part of your thing that you have to do to get ready to perform. Like, that's your foot time. I'm just gonna have a little foot time with myself, right in the mirror. I'm gonna get my paint right. How was it different for you when you were doing the TV stuff? Were there people there to help you?
He did it for me, and then changed it. And I didn't get it because, like, she was like, nah, I'll do my own. And I was just like, but this is like one of the few opportunities that you get to have somebody do it for you. And then once they changed my face paint, that's when it was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. I need this time to myself. Like, do the makeup, do the eyelashes. I really need to have that time to put on my own face paint.
Yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't want somebody picking your gear out for you. Like, it becomes a part of the thing. Shane, you wore face paint once as a mime. We're going to get to that on a future episode, so I want you to save all your paint talk for then. I've never donned any paint. Grandpa, what was your first gear? One that suit Django picked out when he finally got to pick his own clothes?
Always been the stripes with black pants and black shoes.
When did you decide to start wearing a child's pants?
Those are not
I'm talking to
children's
Jeter about
pants.
fashion all day.
They just fit well.
I'm just waiting for Jeter to pop in and say, skinny jeans, and then pop right out.
And then be gone. He somehow doesn't even join the meeting. He pops up at Grandpa's house and says it, and then leaves. All right. Well, Brian, anything you want to talk about from, like, how did we get to this picture we're looking at right here? Like, where are you in your training at this point? What's going on show-wise? And how did we get here?
Well, that's the weird thing. Like, I got a question about that for Shane. He might can answer. Because at this point, we running Samsung. Me and Jeter had been training for a month or two by now. And Jeter was on every last one of the Sam Stone shows. And this was my first show, my first time wrestling on the Sam Stone show. And it just so happened to be our last time wrestling.
Oh, shut it down, Blaze.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Steve had told me that week that I was in wrestling. And then when we got there, it was just like, y'all see once a match started. It's barely a match. And I didn't know what was going on. So, like, after the match, it was like, well, it was cool. But then it was like, what the hell happened? And then that's when everybody was like, oh, yeah, we're not doing this no more. We're leaving Sam Stone. So, like, we literally wasn't clued in until we left.
We may be the only wrestling promotion that specializes in the Irish goodbye. Like, that is the PCW staple is, oh, guess what? We got to get the ring out of here. That is our number one thing that we keep going.
Wait, so Brian, this is your first match?
Yeah, this is my first match. I think that was like Jeter's second or third match. No, it's probably his third.
I think it's his third.
And you guys already knew each other prior to this?
Yeah, this was stuff we was doing in high school.
Okay.
Literally.
God, I just saw Myers' name.
We were talking about preparation. I can't think of it without it. I'm going to be preparation Triple H.
I'm going to bury your hemorrhoids, brother.
Time to play the roids.
All right, well, let's get it, gang. I'm going to hit the play button, and we're going to see what the fuck happens here. Also, there's a part of the end of this match where I just want people start naming me who you see, because a lot of these folks, even I don't know.
I tell you now, one of them sucks.
Oh!
Oh.
A fucking frying pan to the face. Jeter, fresh off of working his construction job.
Jeter's got a manager.
Who is that, Myers?
Well, I'll tell you. That would be Mad Max. He was the DJ at that place. Absolutely.
Yes.
My inspiration for O-Dub.
Oh, that's a juicy tidbit.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, that move right there, Brian Blaze has not changed one bit. That looks like Brian Blaze doing that right now. Bail out, look around like, why are you assholes laughing at me? And did y'all talk about a lot of this, Brian? I assume you did, given the fact that you're super new. He's deep. He's engrossed.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I remember Steve telling us what he wanted, and we just kind of went out there and just did something. Got to the point that we were supposed to get to. We didn't have everybody come break us up.
What did he want your to come across about you?
Well, he didn't want the same, because I think up to this point, Jeter was just out there squashing everybody. And so this is the first time that he actually had to do something. Oh, he about to throw shit at me.
I will say that both of you look, I mean, like, you maintained your mannerisms. Like, that's still how you throw punches. That's how Jeter punches. That's how he moves. So apparently you had some natural proclivity to this because all the stuff that you're doing now looks fine. It looks good enough. And now you're just fucking killing each other.
Yeah. And I remember when we did it, it was such a big thing when we got backstage, and everyone was like, "Oh, y'all was really laying into each other." It's like, yeah, I mean,
That's my friend. I can hit him. He knows I don't mean anything by it.
I mean,
Fucking Red Shirt's loving it. He's having a great time.
Yeah. Oh,
at this point, like we had done worse to each other.
Just monkeying around, you've done worse to each other. I
was
should
that-
Breaking center blocks over each other.
Get in there, skinny bullets. Break them up. Night of 1,000 do-rags. There's Mayway. That's Sam Stone there, right, with the microphone?
Unfortunately.
Is that Steve in that Venom jacket?
Yeah.
I can't pick. Oh no! Who
threw powder?
Oh, Mad Max just snuck in and threw powder for literally no reason.
Jeter's that was his
And who did he hit with the powder?
Steve, because I remember Steve was mad that there was never a get back on Mad Max.
Of course he was. I didn't recognize him without the green jacket. I said, it must be Steve. It wouldn't crystallize in my mind. Who's that pirate? Yar. My name is Mark. Say yar.
It's a sexy motherfucker is what it was.
Oh, is this why I get kicked in the face?
So, Brian, was that about what you remembered of that thing?
Yeah, exactly.
And how did you feel after it was over with? Like you just had your first match. Was it typical Brian Blaze? Nah.
I was ready for more. Like I was like, all right, yeah, first match is out of the way. Let's get on to it. Let's hit the track running. And then like an hour later, it was like, oh yeah, we're not running shows for a while. And it's like,
so I'll tell that story.
Yeah, give it to me.
So after every show, we would go to Jay's uncle's restaurant. Yeah, a barbecue shop.
This is already the best story.
So, like the core group would just go over there and we would just sit and talk about the show and what we want to make better, what we want to improve, what do we hate. Of course, we all said fucking sound effects are the worst.
What about the sound effects? Tell them about sound effects.
The fucking explosions when someone body slams, fucking terrible. We hate it.
What kind of explosion are we talking about, though?
Fucking kaboom.
It was just a stupid fucking kaboom.
No, but then the after part, because it would go anytime somebody hit a big move, the kaboom sound effect would happen, and then it was because I guess it was supposed to be like a nuclear blast or something, and they would go the wind after the explosion.
There was fucking sound effects. So I think we were only at Sam Stone's for like 5 weeks.
That was it. So it was a month. And
it was
a month and a week.
Month.
We did.
It was a month every Wednesday.
Okay.
So the last time, because Sam was really trying to push himself to be a part of the show. Because for starters, he's a TV guy, but every time he grabbed the microphone, his back's to the fucking hard cam showing that stupid brown jacket with the shitty eagle on the back of it. And he just went and talked to the camera like a fucking dumbass. Mm-hmm. So we devised a plan. It was like, we looked at each other and said, Steve, like, no, we can't be here anymore. And we were like, Steve was like, yeah, I agree. Don't worry, I'll figure something out. So we get to the show. Steve pulls someone to the side and says, we're going to get this ring out of here. So we don't have the same situation we had at Frank's and on WBA 4 where his ring is where he lost the ring there. So what we're going to do is we'll tell Sam Stone that someone rented the ring. We got to break it down and we got to take it over there so we can set it up there. And once we get in the truck, get it over to the academy, then I'll tell him we're not coming back. And that's how we got the ring out of Sam Stone.
It's some wrestling ass shit right there. No, brother, somebody rented the ring. We got to get it over here. I love you, brother. Bye.
Blank, I'm back.
I think Steve told him like a day or two later.
Look it, we ain't never coming home no more. And so that gets us to this building where we are right now. I don't know, Brian, if this is the match. So you'll have to tell me if this is the match. But we have often talked about a fabled match between Brian and Jeter and Siler Cross and Master J, in which Brian has to get a little rough with Jay and Siler. I happened across this today. I had another thing lined up to show, but current climate indicates that maybe this was not the best week to show that match. So we're going to do a different thing. And we're going to see how this works out. This would have been during...
Let's be edgy, brother.
I don't want to be edgy. I don't want to be edgy, Shane. I like a nice middle ground. I don't like to tread on any toes. I've already skated on putting my knee on a man's neck and saying, "Can you breathe?" while I had a fist in the air while pinning him. Nobody even noticed it. I've already skated on that. So I'd like to not tempt the fates. I did hear a woman yell crystal clear as I was doing that last week. I heard it as like she was in the ring with me. I just heard, "That's not right." Then I had to sing a country song after I was blowed slap ass up. So yeah, I had a lot going on. So I don't want to tempt the fates, but we will get around to that thing. So this is a match between Master J, Siler Cross, Brian, and Jeter, and we're just going to see what happens.
Who's that ref?
Oh, I don't know. Is that Spanky?
Yep.
That is a renowned Cincinnati Bengals fan and Finnish screw-upper, Spanky.
At least he was right in there for that pin. No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. He was half into it. So this thing started with they attacked We Are Three as Jeter and Brian were then. They attacked them in the aisleway, and that's how we get to this point where Jeter's not in the frame and Siler's kind of beat up.
Pretty blown up.
And Brian Blaze is just staggering around like a maniac. Uh-oh. They didn't trip on old Brian.
I'm still out of my face.
How long had you been wrestling at this point, Brian?
This is like, it's Empire, so this is a good
2 years later?
Yeah.
At least 3?
Yeah, almost. This is a while. Like, we bypassed all the gorilla stuff and everything.
Yeah. So far, everything looks okay.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't seen...
It was the kick at the beginning.
Okay.
And everything since the kick is stiff. As they want to be.
At what point, I want you to give me the Iggy on when you say enough is a damn enough and it's time for a change.
Oh, you can. It's blatant obvious.
Does one get punished for something the other one did also? Does that happen?
Yeah. I can't remember, but I think it's Cross that I punch in the face.
Those punches look pretty. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Lighten up, brother. Lighten up.
It's Master J, yeah.
It looked like one caught him on the ear and one on top of the head.
I've seen Brian Blaze's punches enough now to know when they're purposeful and when they are a part of the performance. And that first one was definitely on purpose.
I mean, you've seen the kick, right?
I did. But I mean, he is how many belts what level is he of a karate champion, Shane?
At this point, he was 8.
8 karates? He had 8 karates under his belt?
In black belts in everything. Everything.
He was that guy you make in the video game where you're just like, everything's a 99. 99, 99, 99.
Bill, did you ever work with Siler or Jay?
Everything but charisma. Charisma's always 70.
I've had one match with Siler, and then Jay trained at A4 for a while.
Okay. God, everybody filtered through there at some point, didn't they?
Devin and I had a chop off on him unwillingly.
As a retribution?
He deserved it.
I think we were just being dicks.
It was a Bush doctrine scenario. They knew that one day he would attack Brian Blaze, and they wanted to make him pay for it real early. What was the plan on that one? Because it looked like your ribs got pretty good on that, B-Rye.
I don't know. I don't know what he was going to do. And I remember Cross holding my hands and just being like, "This is not going to end well."
I called him a flying nip.
It
It was like a knee hit.
I remember.
Brian does have a history of getting his nipples attacked.
I'm gonna milk him.
That's a callback, folks.
Oh.
And the oddity of this match is both of you are heels technically. So we're off the rails already.
Yeah.
Oh God, when Master J would fire up like that, it was the funniest thing in the world. Hey, now you gonna get my cornbread, bro? You gonna get back on there? I'm gonna do that one. Come on now. Can we get some shine, Brian Blaze? My God, they're eating you alive.
Brian tried to fire up, but that was during the punch fest.
Yeah.
And are you trying to tell them otherwise, Brian? Like, hey, we're doing a wrestling match here. It's not whatever you think it is.
I told both of them twice. I mean, that's why Master J got his face punched like that. Like to that point in the match, that early in the match, I told them both twice to lighten up, and they was like, "No, I'm just gonna keep hitting them as hard as I possibly can."
It looks like Siler might have received the message.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be kind of just doing his thing right now. Like everything. Yeah, that kick let me know that he understands what's happening. Jay, on the other hand, I don't know.
Oh,
Please tell me that was the spot. Please tell me that was the spot.
no, I don't believe that was the spot.
What do y'all want to do for the double down? I'm going to follow my ass.
That was poetry in motion.
Oh, God.
That was the best spot ever.
I promise you I didn't know that was coming. Oh, you're a Nagi boys. Get your big ass up.
You're an Augie boy.
Oh, you should have just went for the Nagi, son. You should have just went for the Uranagi.
I love that ring, though. That ring just took care of him.
It really did.
Any other ring in Georgia would have freaking killed him.
Why was Jeter wearing those gloves?
I was supposed to ask that too.
Going to work.
Was this when Taker started wearing those gloves? Is that what this was? The timeline, 2013.
He couldn't find purple.
There it is, Shane. There it is. He couldn't find his purple gloves.
If Mad Max would have dressed up
No,
like
those are the same gloves he
call
wore.
him.
So y'all made quick work of them once it got started. It just feels like that thing never got off the launch pad the way it was supposed to. It even
I mean, the launch pad of Siler's back.
What a great spot that was. What a wonderful spot that was. I kind of want to watch it again.
Did Brian get his foot up, or did they just botch it?
Here we go. Here we go.
I feel like
Let's do a
I
real.
wish it was on purpose.
I wish there was a slow motion button on here because I really want to see. Like, it looks like a spot because of how Jay sold it.
Yeah.
But if it's a spot, it's a great spot. If it's not,
No.
It looks like a spot.
it looks like a spot.
It looked like he slipped on a banana peel.
He literally slipped on the banana peel.
All I hear is beep, 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 beep.
I would have loved to see him connect it and then have Brian Uranagi him into Siler. That would have been that would have made sense. That would have been cool.
Well, I used to step off the back and catch him with a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
I think I started doing that against John and Trey. But I don't know what happened there. I think he was like, that may have been the spot, and I may have just said, fuck him.
that rings more true than anything. That the spot was Brian was going to cut him off, and Brian said, these motherfuckers have been stripping me this whole match. I'm finna make this dude look like a real asshole.
I know that Jay, because I saw Jay at Publix a while back, and
Make
he had
them look
jacked
like
up
some
his
idiots.
knee. So I wonder if he
past me.
sometimes he jacked up.
How did y'all come to that finisher, Brian?
I have no idea.
It
I
doesn't
think
seem
we
like
just
what
started
either one
doing
of
it
you
and
would have.
it worked. So we just kept.
It doesn't seem like what either one of you would have come up with just because of what you watched. It doesn't feel like your finisher. It feels like somebody said, "Oh, you guys should try something," and you did, and it might have worked, but it just doesn't feel like you guys.
Hello.
We might have lost Brian Blaze.
We're back somehow. I think.
Yep, there you are. And there's those gloves, man. Those gloves are really killing me.
Oh yeah.
You do a little road dog on his way down?
So, Blades, what'd you think about those two, bud?
Ross and Jay? Yeah.
No, just
I mean,
the
up to
matches
that
in
point,
general. The matches in general.
At Academy?
The ones we just watched. The
I
current
enjoyed
ones
them.
we're talking about.
Oh, well. I mean, that one brings up memories of hate. The first one wasn't too bad. I mean, have y'all been kicked in the face, like shoot kicked in the face?
Okay, we got some time. Let's tell those stories. Myers, I know you got one. Give me the one about that shoot STO.
Nothing. You just come to agreement.
good.
That's when people don't call spots, then you have to take them down and you have to talk. Oh, there is to it.
Bill, I know you've often said that if somebody shoots you off and doesn't tell you what's happening, they're gonna fucking eat one. Is that a practice you still? Is that something you still practice?
Yeah.
What do
I'm
you
not
think
gonna run into
happens?
something blind.
What do you think happens in that? Is it just guys just get caught up in it and just don't think?
Yeah, I think because I've done it before, and I think what happens is you call it in your head and you don't realize that you haven't called it out loud.
I was gonna say I fucked myself up with Shane Marks because I was blown up and stupid, and I was gonna do a single arm DDT. I didn't call it, and so I ended up pulling him on top of me, and I fucked that all up.
Sexually.
Yeah, sexually, I fucked it all.
Fucking hot.
And I've never had good sex since.
What you've had the best, Myers? Shane, we've been in a lot of matches together. I don't recall a time where you've ever had to be like, "Hey, motherfucker, chill out." Did I just miss something somewhere?
No, I've never had to. Right as of right now, anytime I ever got stiffed, I've got kicked in the back hard, and I just get a sorry, brother.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, no problem, and you get a receipt back.
yeah. And like the sorry brother really does salve all the wounds, right? There's rarely ever a time where you're allowed one sorry brother. Like that's the game. One sorry brother, you're gonna get one later. We're all gonna be even. And that's where it is. If you have to give two sorry brothers, then somebody's gonna be sorry brother.
Like if you asked Tacoma or Leroy about the one time I kicked too high in a drop kick in a battle royal. We'll still tell that story to the day he died. So we were in a match and I jumped too high and I caught him in the face with a drop kick. I was like, oops. This is like my first 2 months. But, I always tell him, like, brother, you got your receipt there later on that night. So let it go.
He's still talking about it.
Still talks about it. It'll still come up on Facebook memory. He'll still bring it up like, brother, you got your goddamn receipt.
I live in terror because I know I've got one coming from Jeter because I hit him with a fucking cowbell one night and I felt bad immediately. And then I turned around and busted him open with some brass knuckles again. So I know I've got one coming. I think the big man just joined us. Jeter, is that you I see?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
How you doing, bud?
Missed all the fun.
Yes. Kayfabe, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I can show you killing Master J again. Are you interested in seeing that?
Yes.
Yes, by all
There we go.
means.
Let's just, because in this thing, your thing was all just you come in and do the thing. So let's, there's another spot here I'm interested in. Let's watch that one more time. Jeter.
Do you remember what happened here? Like, did he slip or did I just say fuck
Do
it?
you know what the cut of what like the there's a spot coming. You tell us if you think it's a spot or just a giant fuck up.
The two participants in this, I'm gonna go with option B versus option A.
All right, here it comes. Here it comes.
That kick.
The Hardy Boys.
Whispering the fucking
No.
wind, brother.
The Hartley boys.
Is that a spot, Jeter? Is that a
Yes,
spot?
that was not a spot. That was
I want you to tell me about this first clothesline too.
No internet.
Well, let's be clear. This is Solid Cross we're talking about, and he's just completely lazy in the process.
Oh,
Oof.
And Master, that was actually a shoot suplex that he had coming to him that night. These cats, man. Reckless, thought too high of themselves at the time, and Steve put him in the ring with the wrong two individuals to be reckless with.
I feel like Brian handled it well.
We're gonna be honest about this, right?
Yeah, go back to the front where he kicked me in the face.
Is it this one right here that's coming?
The
The
first
first shot, right? It's right here. As soon as y'all get in the ring.
As soon as I get in the ring.
Boom.
Hiya!
That second kick didn't look too great either.
I'd like to think that Siler was selling, but I also like to think he knew, oh, shit. Oh, shit.
No, he didn't. Because he got in and just continued to stiff me.
I mean, here's the thing about it. We've all had our moments where we've, for whatever reason, maybe time was off, maybe it was you just a little overamped, you pop somebody, bomb. Sorry, brother, you get it back, whatever the case. With those two kids, you get in the ring, boom, all right, lighten up, boom, all right, lighten up. Okay.
Fuck it.
You get 2 lighten ups from me, if that. All right, we know how this is going. And I always tell people, I'm generally one of the easiest cats to work with. I work a little snug because that's just the way I work, and I let people know I'm a little snug. I'm not trying to kill you.
I'd love to counter that, but no, he has been. I've been in the ring with Jeter many times, and he has all the reasons to kill me, y'all. I mean, all the reasons. Like we all know that I have earned it. Never once tried to kill me. I don't understand it because I would try to kill me.
Like I said, when it comes down to giving out receipts, I've only had to do it a few times.
Well, Brian's getting his register rung up right now, and he is going to print this motherfucker out a long tape.
One of those CVS receipts where it just keeps coming.
Yeah, it goes down to the pink ink when Brian right here. Motherfucker. It's the second one. The second one's my favorite.
Yeah, that's the ear one, right?
Yeah, yes. Right there. He's had enough. Okay. All right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Shard. You're a fashionista. Let's talk about this outfit.
Oh my goodness.
Hang on. Everybody's seeing some crazy shit now. Where are you at?
First off, hashtag speak out, brother.
Hashtag speak out. I had a whole thing planned, but I got I got stopped. That's fine. They're taking their power back. There we go. Come on back in here. Share
I
it
have
with
to say the
people.
reason no one fucks with Shane Marks is because his forearms are friendly fire, but you can tell that his forearm, the first time he hit me with a forearm, I was like, did I do something wrong? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh.
That's just me.
No.
That's
Don't
just me,
fuck with
brother.
me.
David Tita still talks about wanting to quit the business because he had to practice with Shane Marks one night. I don't know what you did, but you did it. You did it, Shane Marks. I've heard him referred to as apartheid.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Shard, you are a man that you are always on the high end of fashion. You're always in tip-top, pristine condition. You know a true orange. You know a true pink. You know all the color wheel, forwards and backwards. What are we doing here, brother? What are we doing here?
Yeah, listen. I had no idea about gear, nothing. I just knew I wanted to go in there and present myself as quote unquote a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pit fighter.
and
a tough
the
man.
do rag was I had waited time, and I was like, look,
Of course,
this is when I used to have my hair cut literally every 2 weeks on a dime. Like, look, I'm not messing up my ways for nobody. I don't care what you say. I'm keeping my do rag on.
It's a functional do rag. This is not a fashion statement.
Because
This
you
is
was getting out the ring and going straight to work.
No, because I wore it every time. This Sam Stone stuff, I wore it every time I wrestled. That night, I was getting out the ring to go straight to work.
Is that a royal blue we're working with there? Or maybe a periwinkle?
No, periwinkle.
What do you think about it over there, Spidey?
Jesus Christ.
Were the gloves in the Siler Cross and Master J match, was that your ode to the Undertaker? We were having a big conversation about that.
No.
Okay.
I wore gloves that night because I didn't have any tape. That's where the gloves came from. I didn't have any tape that night. I said, put gloves on, wear them. Russell. No, my ode to Taker was those MMA boxing gloves I used to wear early on.
There it is. So here we talked about gear a good bit in the beginning. Let's get your take on it. Like, when did you know that it was time to do something? Like, how do you go from this outfit to the first actual gear that you wore?
Here's the thing. I knew I needed gear coming in. My thing was I just didn't want to wear tights initially. Like, I'm not wearing tights. It's not happening. Which is the reason why I wore pants and the t-shirt for the longest time. And I was like, screw it. You gotta wear tights. If I gotta wear anything, I'm gonna wear something I'm comfortable in. As much as I hate it, that's why I just threw on a singlet and started doing the Rob Van Dam thing. Get a black singlet, get a couple of singlets airbrushed. Because it was the closest thing I was comfortable in, because I came from the shoot wrestling background, so we'll wear those. And then that went into, well, I want to be presented a little bit more professional. All right, so I finally just swallowed my pride and got tights. It's worked out for the most part.
How often do you change it now?
As far as the overall look and aesthetic of it, that's done. That's, for the most part, I'm settled in what I want, settled in what I like. The only way I would change anything about what I do now is if I do what they call the gimmick switch. So if I come out as we'll say Christopher Tracy, since that would be something modeled around Prince, the gear would be a little bit different.
And you are meticulous. I'm not making a joke when I say this, and I'm the same way. We're both pretty meticulous about what we wear. How long did it take you to kind of settle on the thing that you wanted?
Honestly, what it took was me getting out my own way, and that took maybe about a full year, maybe 2, because my whole thing was I don't want to be laughed at for what I'm wearing, but I don't want to be the only guy back here. I don't want to be the guy that goes, that boy can work, but his look is trash. As far as my gear goes, So it was just all right. And then the other half of that was completely finding me because anybody knows me, knows I'm a Undertaker guy. I love that guy's work. I respect that guy. Anything and everything about Taker as far as his look, the way he works, all that. I love all that. My look, in all honesty, is inspired by his look and is my ode to him. But I had to find who I was as a wrestler, and once I found that, I was pretty much stuck with it. All right, we're gonna go with this. It looks good. I look like the badass that people see when I first broke in, so it works for me now.
And that's you brought up the point that I wanted to go to next. So it's what we call a good segue. We all told basically the same story about starting out. You don't know what you want to wear. You might not be in the shape that you want to be in. You might not have the money to make it look like the way you want it to look. And that's all cool. But all of us still do the same thing of what you just said, Jeter. If we see a guy that can work but his gear is terrible, we think that guy's an asshole. Like, is that just how the hazing goes? Like, we just understand that that's how the pecking order works. And once you've got yourself established, we all push the same old narrative on all the young kids coming up. Myers, we'll start with you.
Wait, what's the question?
Well, like, do you still look at a kid that is not wearing good gear and be like, this fucking asshole over here?
Yeah, because I think kind of what Jeter was saying is that it looks like they haven't connected all the pieces yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if even if it's consistent, like I don't wear something too crazy for Carpenter, but I feel like it's consistent with who that dude is.
Yes.
So whenever I see someone who the pieces aren't connecting, I'm like, you need to figure out something that looks right. Even if it isn't exactly perfect or it isn't exactly what you want, it has to make sense and it has to tell someone a story about you as soon as you come out.
Yeah.
So I always think that they're young.
Bill, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to start going around doing shows, you should get some fucking gear.
I mean, it's just as simple as that. Just get some fucking gear, right?
Yeah,
Just do it.
I feel like you got maybe a year total before you need to,
Wait, and can I add on real quick?
Mm-hmm.
The song that people use usually for young guys, it makes no fucking sense.
No,
and it's so annoying. And it's like, dude, figure that shit out. You need to figure out what your character looks like, what your song you come out with. Why did your moves connect with who that character is versus just that you can do some cool moves? So I just always think it's a disconnect.
And we all know that. Like, we all know, and because we all see it at the highest level, we know, like, if somebody has music on TV that doesn't match them, all of us can point and say, that doesn't match. Why is he using that music? And it's so important. Brian, I know you still judge the kids. I don't even know why I'm asking you, but go ahead and tell me about them.
I mean, I do and I don't.
You're a liar.
Like, my beard when he first came in, I was like, who the hell is that? and then when he put on his gear, I was like, what the hell is Matt booking?
You son of a bitch. Somehow this came out on me.
And then once you put it together with the gimmick, it's like, okay, I see what he's doing. And
yeah, I was going to say that on mine too, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be gear. Because I remember when I was starting, everyone was pushing that it was tights and it was kick pads and it was boots. It doesn't need to be that. It just needs to work.
Yeah, it works with your thing. And sometimes people will exploit that and make a bit of an excuse out of it. But for the most part, yeah, you don't have like late stage Mick Foley. I laugh every time, like, Mick dumbed this thing down to the point where he was able to just do it in jogging pants and a flannel shirt. But even though I understand that he's a cheapskate and that he carries around his gear in a damn trash bag, I understand all those things about him. But the character that worked for that character, so it can be made to work. All right, let's go to the other side of it. Round robin. I'm gonna start with you, Nina. While I'm ramping up, you can be thinking about who is it that you look up to gear-wise now? And please don't say nerd stuff. Just not nerd stuff now.
Yeah.
Just please don't say nerd stuff.
All right,
if you got to say nerd stuff, say nerd stuff. Whatever.
All right,
It's your time.
Ariel. I'm gonna go ahead and say Big Swole, like Ariel. Like, I've always liked her gear. I've always liked the fact that Like this one gets mad about the swapping that they do, but apparently, like I enjoy it.
What do you dig about her gear? What do you dig about her gear?
Oh, well, specifically, she kind of took what Leva Bates was doing and evolved it.
Okay.
And included like, is the internet going out again?
You're all right. Keep talking.
Okay. Well, Leva Bates was doing it. Leva Bates was playing character from rock stars to games to comic books, but then Ariel took it and made it something different where it was always a social commentary as well. So I've always appreciated her gear. Also, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with just because you know, Black Lives Matter and all that. Bianca Belair, like she's making statements with her gear. There you go. Bianca Belair she makes her own gear, so like she's able to make a statement with her gear. She doesn't back down from that, and her gear fits her. Her gear fits her. Fits like her physique. It.
Bill, would you agree with her gear fits her physique well?
Go ahead and start dancing. Go ahead and start dancing.
Oh, Bill.
And I know y'all hate to hear it, but I love Natalia's gear.
God damn it. You're just picking on Brian now. You're just trying to get it started. Brian, while we're there, whose gear do you really like? Let me get CM Punk.
No, but
yep.
God damn, can I talk? No, but he did influence me to like just start taking it from your sports teams.
Yeah.
Like your favorite teams and everything.
I'm a sucker for that myself.
And I kind of took bits and pieces from everywhere. Like there's a lot of people in ROH that I look for. I can't even hear you, so I ain't even gonna be mad about what you just said.
I didn't say anything. I let you have it.
That's what I heard.
Bill, who do you like?
I like Asuka's a lot. I like any of the big theatrical stuff. I like when Balor was Devitt and he was always coming out in his weird shit. As much as I hate admitting it, the Undertaker shit when he was in the Ministry.
Yeah.
When he was really Sataning it up.
It was some light Devlin.
It was some light Devlin.
Yeah, I mean anyone and a bunch of Triple H's stuff that he would do for Mania. Like, you know, anytime it's that big shit, I love it.
Myers, please give me somebody from not 1990.
Yeah, no, I like theatrical stuff, not 1990. I like whenever Rey Mysterio does theme stuff with his gear.
Yeah,
I always like it whenever because I always think it's usually to bring kids into it, so it's usually something timely and something that kids can be like, oh snap, that looks really cool. Yeah,
and fuckload of mask.
Yeah, and move some merch.
Shane Marks, who's your Giro?
For me, I always loved Jericho's gear earlier on because he always had different gear every single time you saw him, which is kind of like what inspired me because that's kind of how I am because I don't have 3 sets of the same gear. There's always 2 different ones. So Jericho was the one that influenced me in that sense. And also, Randy Savage. Like Macho Man was always, he was just everything about the whole presentation with Macho. It was just everything was on point. Especially like go back and watch fucking WrestleMania 4. He had gear for every single match he came out.
Yes, he did.
Always something different. Him and Elizabeth, just something different every single match leading to the final. So that's definitely someone that I definitely look towards.
And the thing with Macho was, Macho had the big coat and the big hat and all that pomp and circumstance on the way to the ring. But his trunks were simple and his boots were simple, but they still were dope as all hell. Like, when you juxtapose that with Flair, once Flair took off the robe, he looked basically like everybody else. You know, it was simple stuff, RF on the trunks. They were nice and everything, but like Macho's fucking trunks were still dope. Like he still managed to keep it going, even though he'd stripped down to basically nothing. Yeah, that's that dude right
Yeah,
there.
when he was long pieces too, still.
Yeah, yes, still even his NWO shit looked good, and there was nothing to really work with that, but it stood out in the
than
group.
everybody else.
Yeah.
When he went from trunks to tights and started wearing the shirt, I remember my friend and I were like, he's wearing a shirt. And we were kind of bothered by that as little kids. I don't know why we were bothered by that. But then he would use it as a spot. And then, because there'd be times in the match, like in the Warrior match, he takes the thing off and you're like, oh, snap, he's really serious. So not only using the gear, but then using it as like the Jerry Lawler straps come off.
Yeah.
Like it was a way to elevate his game and make that a spot.
Yep. I think Kurt Angle's singlet game was tip-top shape, just on point at all times.
Yeah.
Shard, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, you tell me. Whose gear do you dig?
Like I said, anything Taker from 03 until whenever last we wrestled Triple H in tights, Kurt most definitely. Kurt, because it's just that wrestling thing for me, and the way he looked like a wrestler that was professional wrestling. So I've always done that. Who else? I like Eddie. I like a lot of Eddie's gear.
Yeah,
because it all went with his. When you looked at Eddie, that's one of the guys. When you looked at the Latino Heat, that whole persona, it permeated and it came through the gear, the cross with the fire, and just being in the car. All of it just worked together.
It really did. Like Eddie was a whole. Like it's hard to separate Eddie. It's hard to even pick out Eddie's gear individually because you did just see a package. The whole thing was all there together and it was perfect. It fit perfectly. It laid perfectly. It tucked in his boots just the right way. He just looked crisp and all his work was crisp and everything about him was great. And it is hard to like, oh man, that's some Eddie gear because it really was just a part of his body. Is how well it all went together. Of course, Grandpa, you got anything to add?
He loved Dick Patrick.
Bow tie
to his pants.
Right.
He loves a referee and jeans.
I go back to Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes with the robes. One of the things I like with Rhodes was wrestling too. Nice and simple, but he always looked crisp. It was always neat. And the Randy, Savage, his gear, he was always on point.
And obviously Tojo's shoes.
Oh yes, gotta have that. You as gear and a weapon.
Well, I hate to let you all know you're wrong. Best gear ever was the Varsity Club. No questions asked. They looked immaculate in those jackets. My God, did those jackets?
Still got 80 Sting.
Sting.
Yeah, 80 Sting did have a thing about him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Jenkins, I'm surprised you're not repping Tanahashi on this.
I mean, obviously.
TT.
Obviously, TT. I don't even like to get across the pond because the whole thing about Tanahashi is just that hair. Once the hair happens, it really doesn't matter what he's wearing. Fucking Okada's shit from Wrestle Kingdom this year still puts me in the floor.
It was fucking amazing.
It's ridiculous. And like also the simplicity of black trunk shooter boots is our wrestling little black dress. Like that works in every scenario. Like if you're a dude who doesn't exactly know what he's doing, put on black trunks and shooter boots and I will at least believe you for the moment. You have to then disprove that you're worth a shit if that's what you put on. It is great to have that uniform in the tank.
You're not going to talk about Nakamura and that crown?
Look, if I don't want to be on here for 2 hours, I am staring at an illuminated picture of Nakamura right now. Like I'm literally looking at it in my line of sight. Light, it has its own light that shines on it.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Japanese wrestlers who was dope as shit, fucking Great Muta.
Oh,
Yeah. Fuck.
like down to the paint matching the yeah. Like Liger's shit looked great. That's ridiculous. As ridiculous as Liger's whole thing is, he looked great. And again, the fit of that outfit, the way that he took away from, he accentuated his positive by overselling the big ass shoulders and the horns. You never noticed that he wasn't very tall. You never noticed that he wasn't particularly big. It all worked in a package. Like a goddamn sewing circle we are. We've talked about gear for an hour. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wanted to know what wrestlers actually sit around and talk about, this is it. This is it. We don't talk about our favorite matches. We don't talk about any of that. We talk about who looked the dopest. Or conversely, boy, that guy looks like shit.
I was gonna say, can we do a round of worst gear?
Get it started, Bill. I know you got some opinions.
I fucking hate.
Who? Say it one more time. You cut out.
Early.
He's being broken. He's being broken up.
Don't you censor Bill?
One more time, Bill.
All right. The early Road Warriors.
Oh, the Leather Daddies.
Yeah. And Kane after like 06.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to say a thing that I didn't ever think I would say, but in retrospect, I hated the RVD stuff. I just hate it now. Like I guess maybe it's because it was so of a time and it never changed. But it
is 90s as shit.
Yeah, just 90s as shit. And certainly it didn't
so
match.
Atlanta Underground.
It is. It's very 3-6 Mafia music video.
I mean, you could almost say the same thing about Rick Rude.
Yes. Yeah. Rude was helped by that gorgeous body of his, but it certainly did. That certainly does not hold up. And like RVD's thing certainly didn't match. Like the 2-year tag title run, that was begging for a gear change. I know why he couldn't do it because that was the whole thing, but it was begging for him to look differently, and he never did. And I just hate it now. Shard?
Worst gear. Come back to me. I gotta sort this
Brian,
out.
I bet you got 6 of them lined up. We might have lost Brian.
Music right now.
Brian Blaze, who looks terrible. He's just staring. Maybe he's staring at me like it's me. Shane Marks, who looks terrible.
Fuck. I don't know. I'm trying to think who did I hate gear wise. I can't think. I'm trying to come back to me in a moment.
Myers, who is Martin?
Denim jorts suck.
Yes, across the board.
Across the board. I've never seen someone work them, and I hate it when I see it. And I hated Steve McMichael's trunks.
Oh, they were so bad. They suck. Mongo's trunks were terrible. They were too long.
No, Shane Marks. No, not you. Oh no.
Are you here to put a cape on for Mongo McMichael?
No, fuck Mongo.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Did you like his thing?
I'm sorry. When you mentioned Mongo, I was triggered. I'm sorry.
The only thing about Mongo was his dog. That was all he had to offer me in this world.
Yeah, Mongo had terrible gear.
Brian, did we get you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Whose gear did you hate?
It's honestly that singlet that Mojo and MVP wears. I can't. It's like it's just there to hide a terrible body.
Bill, are you okay? I don't think Bill survived. If you brought up MVP, Bill went to sleep.
Yeah. He put his own leg over his head.
The room with one. Crowsting.
Oh.
Hated it.
Huh. It did have some bad elements to it. Like the vented pads were sort of ridiculous. A little silly, if nothing else.
Jeff Jarrett.
Wait a minute. Uh-oh. I'm going to relinquish my time to Myers.
You didn't like nipple jail?
The nipple gel works for Simon.
Shit today.
It works for Simon, but for like a straight man, I don't think that gear works for you.
I don't like it as the milkman Myers because I can't milk them nipples. Only because of that.
It's just teasing you. It's teasing you. Like if I could just come in from here or here, I'd have him. But he's got the nipples in jail. Foot, whose gear do you hate? Let me guess, a white person's.
I think
We must have lost
sorry,
the Decatur feed. Shane, did you say one? Did you come up with one?
other than Jeff Jarrett,
He's doubling down on Jeff Jarrett.
because God, it was so terrible. I hated it so much. It seemed fun at the moment. That you watch it back, it's like, no. At one point, it was like Blue Velvet. It was like, nope, can't do it. Sorry, Jeff. I hated Savio Vega's gear.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
It's funny because the refs in AAA dress like that now. Tight shirt, baggy pants, suspender straps for no reason. What the hell are y'all doing?
I bet Grandpa's got one. Grandpa, whose gear do you hate?
Everybody.
Coco Beware.
Bullshit! Get off the fucking
I
podcast!
swear to God, I was about to say Coco
How do
Beware.
I mute? How do I mute him?
I was about to say Coco Beware.
You
Gear
motherfucker.
was horrible.
It's goddamn Juneteenth. What the fuck's wrong with you two? Get out.
Wait. Which Coco?
Go on, Coco.
Some of the gear was the pleather, baggy pants looking thing, the suspenders.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay, I can
Yes.
accept new generation, new foundation Coco. Yes.
Oh, okay. Baron Corbin. I hate the gimmick
Okay,
with the
that's fine.
crown and all,
Yeah.
whatever he has
Yeah.
on.
Baron Corbin.
Any kind of baggy leather just isn't here.
Baron Corbin.
I agree.
And I'm gonna make Jeter mad, but there was a time where Undertaker's leather did not fit him.
We're turning on each
Oh,
This podcast is turning on each
We're
other.
eating ourselves, you guys.
This fruit that ate, I think we might have lost. Shard, did we lose you?
He hung up.
Yeah, we might have lost Jeter already. So you're going
It's
to
like a
skate on
pile
that one.
driver.
But I can tell you motherfuckers one something. You're going to see me again. You're gonna see me again. And we're going to talk about what y'all said about my motherfucking uncle. I'm going to stop this podcast before our relationships get any more fractured. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us up until about the last 6 minutes. And I apologize for what you heard after that. This is worse than anything that was reported earlier this week. This is the worst thing to happen in wrestling this week. This has been the Wrassle Man, a Whoopcast. And for the final time, Tiger Mask, take us home.
What a